This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon.com/2headed nerd. Become a patron. Support this show.
Our story this week picks up where we left off last week.
Broadcasting from the ziggurat at Omaha in caverns hidden deep below the metro area where we recently tried to body swap each other. But since our ninja magic isn't very strong and we share a body already, it didn't work at all.
It was a bad plan.
It's our pleasure to welcome you to episode 732 of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. I'm your head number one, the internet's Joe Patrick. You'd think, even though we've got two brains, we'd be a little smarter.
It's the little things that ninja magic gets you on. You know, you got to pay attention. I'm your head number two.
Details are important.
Yeah. My name is Matt Baum. We're back for part 2 of our back issue show where the Slack issue crew featuring Jared Woolly Toots Cvetas joined forces with us to try and make sense of Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz's classic, ELEKTRA ASSASSIN. The results were varied and many.
True. After that, we'll set you up with our must-read picks for next week's new comics. But now, be warned. The second installment features flying, genetically created imps, so don't expect things to get any clearer in part 2 of this back-issue review time. In the ziggurat!
How to say this classic story? It's like issues with Joe and Matt. Oh yeah!
We now join THN's discussion of ELEKTRA ASSASSIN, already in progress.
Let's get to Chastity.
Yeah, Chastity.
Number 5, Chastity. We meet S.H.I.E.L.D. specialist Chastity McBride, which I spelled so poorly, is sent to retrieve Garrett and Elektra just as a group of hand ninjas working for Wind attack them while they're trying to get out of the Potomac River. Chastity and Garrett have passed. He is not thrilled to see her, but he's also not thrilled that Elektra is continuing to murder S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Not that he's going to have a job after this anyway, but it is funny that he keeps going like, ah, man, no way I'm coming back after this one. Elektra uses her mind swap abilities to barely escape, and Chastity suffers the consequences. Garrett finally gives up all control to Elektra. Big time.
I think at this point he's kind of like in love with her after old fashion, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That happened right away.
Syndrome
That kind of happened in the
he's
very
just like,
beginning.
That
all right,
happened in the
baby.
very beginning,
Yeah.
but he was fighting it still. Now
He was
done
saying
fighting.
she was too.
Yeah, he's like,
he kept saying, "I've seen better."
yeah, he's
Seen
like,
better."
she's too muscly. I don't like chicks that stacked. And then he's like,
oh yeah, she's too muscly. She's too muscly, right?
yeah. So
But
this
then
whole,
he couldn't. Yeah.
this whole issue is basically an action piece. It's great. There's some underwater fights that are completely nuts. There's more weird helicopters. Chastity is a total badass with this gigantic cross earring that no one in their right mind would let her wear into the field.
There's a whole lot going on with Chastity that probably wouldn't be allowed in the field.
Oh, definitely.
Oh no, Chastity is allowed in the field, baby.
She's like Nick Fury's number 1, more or less, from what I can tell. We see
She runs the show. She runs this whole operation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
In
she's
the
like the
field.
top agent on the case.
And Nick Fury's like, tell me what happened. That's like, he's like, all right, debrief me. Tell me everything, you know? Elektra is underwater fighting for a very long time, but she's a super ninja, so
It's like 10. It's like 10 pages.
Ninja magic. Don't worry about it.
it's 10
It's
of
2 waves of enemies.
it's 10
their
amazing
hand.
pages too. The
No,
underwater,
right?
yeah, the hand and
It's the
then
hand, and they all
shield.
look like.
And then shield agents, yeah.
They all jump in with briefcases and fucking suits on, and then it's shield agents. Yeah, it's just like a wave of bad guys, another wave, all
We know
underwater.
Garrett probably doesn't need to breathe, so let's not worry about him.
No, he's
Oh
fine.
wait, no, she breathes and she breathes for him.
She breathes into
his mouth. He does need to breathe.
Well, but at the same time, they keep saying like he doesn't have a heart, he doesn't have lungs. We rebuilt all that. So
well,
I
he doesn't
don't-
have a heart. That
I
doesn't
don't
mean he doesn't
know.
have lungs.
I don't know. Why would you build him needing to breathe if he's a full robot? All he's got is a brain left.
They've given him an artificial heart. They mention it. It looks like a potato with a bunch of shit sticking out of
That's
it, like
true.
Mr. Potato Head.
That's true. We see her.
And this is where the beast comes in
Yeah.
underwater too, into her mind and really takes her out of the game.
This is where we're seeing like when she's close, when the beast is close within a certain amount of area, he can start to speak to her, and it's like Bill Sienkiewicz writing in what looks like lipstick, like over these black panels.
Yeah, it's giant scrawled red letters.
Oh, it's so cool. And this underwater fight scene is just gorgeous watercolor. Absolutely gorgeous.
Can we talk about the president for a minute?
So yeah,
we
should
breezed
yeah,
right past
we
him
gotta
in
jump.
previous issues.
yeah, the
So
Republican
president,
the current president.
the current president of the United States in this book is a Republican, and very much like Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
With an eternally presidented Ronald Reagan. I'm not sure how he managed to stay president so long,
Well,
but whatever.
he's
We
also
suspended
kind of
the
a-
laws, I guess.
Nixon Reagan here, I would argue.
This one
Yeah, I
is
thought- I
kind
got
of
more
a
of a
weird
Nixon vibe
amalgamation
off
of a Nixon and a Reagan
Yeah.
smashed together. And he is like laying in bed and on the couch next to his wife that Bill Sienkiewicz draws like
She weighs 3.5
She's
tons. Yeah, she's
like
gigantic.
Mrs. Spratt. Like Jack Spratt can eat no fat. His wife could eat no lean. She's like Mrs. Spratt. And he's got the box, capital T, capital B, the red button.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
a
will.
little like remote control with a red button.
And it like the way that Sienkiewicz draws it, it's literally like a clicker, right?
It's great.
like a little clicker, handheld clicker. It's
great.
Instead of like being in a briefcase with like switches and locks and shit, it's the football, right? It's this little button that he carries to bed with him. And if this is anything sort of close to how it has ever been in
No,
reality,
it's not. No.
we are so lucky.
It is not. All this is Frank Miller, like, again, showing, like, this is all these, like, little jackasses want. They just want to be the one in charge of the biggest gun or the biggest missile or whatever. So, like, everybody's bad. Everyone in the government, crooked, bad.
Well, I mean,
Doesn't matter
I
if you're-
feel like he's especially harsh on the Republican side of things.
Oh, but
yeah.
the other guy's possessed by a demon and wants to launch a full-on nuclear attack and end the world. And the Republican wants to start a war with the Soviets because he's got a little penis, essentially.
Okay, but that's true. But I don't think that at any point Frank Miller is saying that all Democrats are possessed by demons.
No, I think he's saying all government doesn't work and they're all evil.
I mean,
in this.
sure, yeah,
I think that's a
yeah, I'll give you that. for
pretty
sure.
loud message here. Man, these helicopters, they're just, I don't know what Sienkiewicz thinks a helicopter looks like, but these are wild.
I like the helicopter fight scene more so
awesome.
than the underwater scene myself.
The helicopter fight scene's incredible and like super bright oranges and reds. And then like ultimately you have Elektra hanging upside down outside of a helicopter firing a bazooka.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then the fight scene it becomes on the ground with McBride and like it's a blast.
What happens between her and McBride exactly? Because I got a little confused here. They're fighting and she holds up against Elektra really well. But
but then Elektra gives her a kick to the chops and drops her.
But it's like because
And
the
then-
Beast was also messing with Elektra too. She was off her game.
Well, hold
Well,
on.
What Garrett hops up and shoots her because she took out McBride.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then she's like, nope, don't shoot me. You got to save me and get me out of here. And he's like, okay. I love you.
And they ride away on that crazy space train engine or whatever the hell that is.
Well, not yet. First, yeah, I have no idea what's going on there in the end. He ends up taking her back to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I know what's going on. All of this is bullshit. None of the stuff that's happening right now is real. Garrett shooting her, her being taken captive by Chastity and S.H.I.E.L.D., it's all bullshit because we find out at the end she and Garrett have made off on their gigantic
You're right.
steam locomotive snowmobile.
I don't think that's even real either. I think that's in Garrett's fantasy head that he's driving
this is
and
us
shaving her.
getting away.
Yeah, because there's like a glitch. Elektra's befuddlement lasts all the way up until the point that they show Elektra on life support in the lab, and
Yeah.
there's like a glitch, and it's Chastity.
Okay.
So it's Chastity that gets captured. Everyone thinks she's Elektra. And meanwhile,
That's where
Garrett
the mind
and
swap.
the real Elektra are out of there.
Okay, she put the mind whammy on her, and they came.
It's
around.
not even a mind swap. It's just that they made people think that was Elektra.
That's what I meant. She
Yeah.
put the mind whammy on the
snaps.
Shield agents, and they went.
Yeah, it snaps on the screen in front of Fury from Elektra to
Yeah.
McBride,
Okay.
and they're
like it's powerful enough that it's picked up by. Now this is up to interpretation, I guess. You could argue that it's just the illusion wearing off, but the way it's depicted, it looks as though it's powerful enough of an illusion that it's being picked up by cameras.
Or
Because Fury's watching it on the monitor when she changes
I don't think
back
it's that.
into Chastity.
I don't think it's that. I think everybody is affected, and when it goes away,
So maybe this is just it wearing off.
yeah, I think it's just.
It's just the way he draws it is that Fury is looking at it on a monitor. There's a flash and it goes zerk,
Yeah,
and then it's Chastity. So he makes it look like an electrical problem.
I mean, but then again, I don't know. Miller's got her doing some crazy shit, so I don't know.
Yeah,
she's a super.
This
ninja.
I think it might be the first appearance of our little blue dudes.
This is the first
this
appearance
issue.
of little blue dudes out of nowhere. By the way,
yeah.
no explanation.
Unexplained, not explained for like another 2 issues.
Yeah, about an issue and a
They're
half.
made by a Shield division, dude.
I guess.
Yeah,
They're
basically
made,
they are.
I want to see him.
they
I want
are-
to see him in every Shield scene.
well, they were made by
Just
X.
one in the background.
They were
walking
made
around.
by X Tech Ops, and I think they were
Sure.
like V1 of Garrett and Perry, basically. Like they genetically. grew these guys.
So spoilers for future issues. It is explained that the dwarves were a failed cloning or attempts at cloning.
Yeah.
Trying to make a super agent, and they didn't get very far, and so they were left with these little blue drone dudes like Oompa Loompas that do all the menial labor.
And like,
So basically, S.H.I.E.L.D. is manufacturing their own little blue slaves.
did Frank do anything like this in like Legends of the Dark Knight that I don't remember? Like where there were like imps around? Because I think this is purely Bill Sienkiewicz going nuts.
He just had mutants. Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is
I
purely.
mean,
And they were just that was just the name of their gang. They were people. They were just people.
This is all Bill. It's got to be. All right, let's get to issue 6. We got to barrel through these last 3 issues.
I don't know, man. Oh, yeah. I made a big note here because I think it's worth it's worth noting. We've got boobs.
Oh, in issue 6?
We get our first,
We get our boobs.
our first and only, by the way, bit of actual nudity in this issue
And
or
it's-
in this series, which it's epic. And so, like, I think that might be the only. I don't know if
I don't think there's any other nudity.
I don't even remember if Max Comics had nudity. Really,
I don't think so. Not really.
maybe sometime.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they
Sparing.
did. There was the one. It's going to drive me crazy. Igor Cordley drew it.
Igor Corday.
Igor Cordy,
Yeah.
and it was based on. No, there was a couple. There was an Eternals
There was
Oh,
nudity
sure.
in that Eternals? Oh, yeah, I guess there was.
that had a lot of nudity. It
Yeah.
was weird. It was a Max Eternals, and then the one by Igor Cordy was more like a caveman-y something or other. Oh, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna dig him out of the box. I'm gonna try to figure out what the hell that was.
Regardless.
I mean, I'm not like celebrating it or anything. I'm not like yay boobs. I'm just saying, it was weird to see a boob all of a sudden.
Well,
in
it's
in a
fitting.
Marvel comic.
It's very fitting for this chapter, what we're fighting for, where Elektra and
Well,
Garrett
right.
hide in a scuzzy hotel so she can heal after her battle with Chastity. She spends her time bathing a lot, eating, and torturing Garrett psychologically to make him fall even deeper for her. Later in the issue, Chastity learns the truth about X-Tech Ops turning criminals into cyborgs, just in time for the team to bring Garrett's old partner, Perry, back from the dead, with even better tech than ever, along with similar chemicals in his brain to those that altered Elektra. Meanwhile, Wind is giving beast milk to
I
a
have a
general.
thought about that, actually. I have
Okay.
thought about that because as we are seeing Perry, like the plan to rebuild Perry is revealed.
Right.
We see one of the blue dwarf dudes whispering in his ear. And the monologue boxes, the caption boxes for the blue dude, they change from yellow with black letters to black with white letters. And it becomes very, very clear right then in this moment that this dwarf is possessed by the beast.
Oh, big time. It's got red eyes. It's got teeth. You know?
Yeah. So this dwarf, eventually we come to find out his name is Chuck.
Yeah. He has bat wings.
This dwarf is possessed by the beast. Yeah.
Big time.
And so I'm wondering if the weird DNA that the scientists are detecting.
I don't think so, because Beaker talks about it too. Beaker talks about how we couldn't totally figure everything out, but we found this and we introduced it into Perry to see what it would do. They're testing.
Oh, right. Yeah. There is a mention at one point when they had Elektra captive.
Yeah.
They put her on antitoxins and wiped all the ninja shit, all of the weird DNA chemicals. They keep calling it a narcotic.
The milk, whatever it was.
That it's wiped out of her system, but they managed to like distill it and like save it.
Yeah.
And so, so they give it to Perry, but it doesn't really do anything to Perry as far as they know.
So this whole issue is basically Elektra healing, being almost naked, torturing Garrett, who's watching porn and drinking a lot of beer.
We get to see her naked booty.
We do get to see her booty. We see Wynn. He basically reveals himself and gives one of these generals milk. And it's like, all right, I'm going to kickstart this plan by giving you this stuff. And you're going to go and kick off all the nukes. But the general goes crazy way too fast. Like we start to see like, okay, maybe it depends who you are. The milk doesn't just take you over super crazy, you know, whereas some people, boom, you go nuts. And he's just like, blah, 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 shoots himself. Like he can't do it. He can't drop the nukes. But we also get a lot of explaining of what's going on as well, where they're like, here's the plan to put Perry back together. These are a lot of like small panels, again, with Xeroxed art and whatnot. Where like every
Chastity gives us the origin of Garrett.
Yeah,
like
the debrief
what he was
and everything.
up to before he became a SHIELD agent. Spoiler alert, nothing good.
He's bad news. But it seems every couple of issues they give us this
this is also where she says, sir, I do think that there's enough evidence to indicate that he has been mentally dominated by this person.
Yes.
He's not under control. He's not in control of his own mind.
Like every couple issues, we have to have these debriefs so Frank Miller can tell us what's actually going on, basically.
Yeah, for 3 pages.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the plan.
At least 3 pages.
We see the Beast plan revealed. Finally, we've learned that the Beast wants a full-on nuclear war and it's going to kill everybody. I'm not sure exactly what they achieve by that, but it's revealed to this general who ends up killing himself. While this is all going on, they're putting Perry back together. It's a great scene where it's like his head is connected to a bunch of wires and his body's down on the table and they're drilling into it and stuff. This issue, as much as it spells things out, okay, I will say we do see Fury with a gigantic gun in this issue. Like he's holding it this time.
Yeah, like cable-sized gun, yeah.
But it's not the same size as that gun that was in that hangar that dude was standing.
No, that was a gun. That was a gun-like machine.
So this is a different
like a gun vehicle. He's like sitting in it like a little Hot Wheel.
Okay.
Like a G.I. Joe toy. Yeah.
So this is a different gun.
This looks like a normal shotgun, just 10 times the normal size.
Right. And this is where we see Chuck bust Perry out, basically, and says, time for us to get out of here. You're going to go do stuff for the Beast. Perry jumps out of the helicarrier at 30,000 feet, but he's indestructible. So he's probably going to be okay, unfortunately. After that, we get to see the general goes nuts. He's about to push the button. He's talking to himself. He'd be like, it'd be so easy. I'll enter the code and push the button. It's just so easy. And then he's like, I can't do it. Shoots himself. In a really great panel, like black and white, where like the only thing that's red is the red button. And I've noticed like they only use red for Elektra, blood, and things that could kill a lot of people, it seems.
And also this giant heart-shaped bed.
And the heart-shaped bed. I'll give you that. The porny bed. Yes.
Great last page where it's Garrett and Elektra sitting on the heart-shaped bed, polishing their weapons, getting their weapons ready for battle. And Garrett is like, he's fully on board.
He's all Elektra. In. It's over. Yeah, he's given up. He saw her naked enough, but it's over now.
And I don't know if I necessarily agree with the characterization that she was torturing him. I think he was being tortured because he was horny.
Well, I mean, I think she knows how to play this idiot.
You're adding to that, though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. But like, I don't
That
I mean, yeah, I get it.
That
but
is how you play macho 80s rogue cop dipshit.
I suppose.
Here's how you also do it. That panel where they show her booty in the shower is splattered with a spunk white splatters.
Yeah. It is.
Like it couldn't be more like
It gets a little, yeah. And he's having like S&M dreams about her choking him and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Like,
I get it, but I guess my point is if that
the whole time.
yeah.
I guess my point is if you can put the mind whammy on somebody and make them your slave already without it, then why? Why?
I think
would
she can.
need to do any of this?
I think she can do it for a short amount of time, but the stuff that she needs him to do, she needs like 100% total control.
He needs to be willing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we spent too much time on this weird topic. Let's
All
move
we
on
can
to number
say
7.
is again another issue that looks good, confused us all. Let's move to the next
Absolutely.
one.
That seems to be the theme. Looks really good. Not totally sure everything that happened. Issue 7.
I love this cover. It's a take on American Gothic.
Yeah.
The painting, and it's Perry with the pitchfork and Chuck standing next
It's
to him.
great.
Yeah, man.
And the house
Chuck
is on
looks great.
fire. It's great.
Oh,
I love
it's
it.
totally
great.
great. And you're like, I gotta wonder if guys like Jeff Lemire looked at this and went, "I want my style to be this nuts," you know, because it had to have influenced so many of these people. This
we got us another great name here, Ben Chump.
Oh yeah, this issue is titled Vox Populi. Chastity is back in the game after Perry and Chuck, a genetically created dwarf that can fly, who we talked about, escaped. Meanwhile, Elektra infiltrates Wynn's campaign headquarters and steals a thermos of the evil milk to learn the Beast's plans. Chuck takes Perry to meet the Beast and learns the nuclear annihilation plan. Garrett and Elektra make their move to assassinate Wynn at his presidential victory party. It's all coming together. They're going to do it.
It's all coming together. I think it is amazing that Chuck flies by flapping his arms really fast.
Well, he's got little bat wings.
He's got those little bat wings that you know damn well don't actually carry anybody
No,
in
of
flight,
course
and
not.
yet here we are.
Of course not. So Chastity is not a robot, right?
No, she's a human lady.
Okay. So she's talking with Beaker. She exposes all the stuff that Ex-Tech Ops is doing. Comes to
So at this point, Beaker is a head, right?
Yeah.
Beaker is a head on a radio.
powered by electricity and adrenaline. They just keep
And
pumping it
adrenaline,
into
yeah.
him so they could talk to him a little more.
So they found the bloodbath that Perry and Chuck left behind, and they managed to keep Beaker's head alive long enough to find out what the fuck's going on.
Right. Chastity's going after Perry because they found out that Perry was like terrible person, like raped someone at 12, killed his family at like 14, like really, really, really bad news. And Tech Ops is basically turning terrible people into unstoppable cyborgs.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I liked was, this Ex-Tech Ops is clearly this division of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has little to no oversight.
Yeah, they're farmed out.
Up until now. And the whole time you hear things pop up here and there about how they are asking for more funding.
Right.
And Fury is actually at the time that Chastity explains, by the way, we found out that Perry is this horrible monster. And that Ex-Tech Ops is just hiring the worst of the worst and turning them into killing machines. Fury is multitasking because he's also on the phone with the president or a senator or whoever.
Right.
And probably not the president because it's President Weirdo with the button.
It's a senator, he does say. But
and he says, Senator, at this point, I should let you know that we are revoking our request for more funding. And so,
he
like,
pulls a plug on that.
Fury finds out what's really going on with Ex-Tech Ops, and he shuts that shit right down.
Yeah, Fury's a good guy. He's a busy guy. They didn't know what was going on.
Sure. I mean, it's his job. There's a reason why there are different departments with different department heads. Like, Fury doesn't have to micromanage.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's got Chastity for. She can come and tell him all this stuff.
Yeah.
So Chastity goes
Turns
after.
out somebody should have been paying a closer eye on.
I mean, they're just cyborgs, Joe. What could go wrong?
I think the winner of this issue is the Elektra going in to steal the milk, just because
awesome. That scene is fantastic.
It's all blue. It's like he did, used airbrush blue all spackle all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, Elektra's the only one in full color, but even though she's got a blue hue on, she is not outlined at all.
No.
She's just color.
It's just straight to color.
Right. And everybody else is just an outline.
Yeah.
Like they don't have any. It's awesome. It's such a cool.
I think they're outlined because they're
sequence.
Also, it's like they're dead. She has killed them. Like they are.
Yeah,
no.
well,
they're all mind swapped out.
Yeah.
It's certainly
They're all milked
it's a
up.
way to set Elektra apart from.
Yeah, it's way cool.
But I think that this does lend credence to what Matt said earlier about how, yes, they might be ninjas, but they are ninjas that are in control of bodies that don't belong to them.
their bodies.
Because like this one is clearly an old woman.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like I said,
But
they
it's
look
like-
like grocers and stuff.
Like a secretary who wielded a letter opener expertly, though too late.
Yeah.
And then the next guy was a media consultant who attempted handholds no American could know.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, these are ninjas that have taken control of normal American citizens and are hiding in plain sight, and Elektra sees right through them.
And they're the hands. So look, those people are already dead. Elektra's not.
Those
gonna
people are
save them.
already dead. They're not getting their bodies back.
No. So from here we see my favorite is when Chastity dresses up like a nun to go undercover to protect Wind because we've got to get a nun scene in
Which,
here.
by the way, the rally isn't until the next day. She's just testing out her costume.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and she's got a giant crucifix that she's wearing around her neck, and it bang goes real great with that.
Oh
earring.
yeah, perfect.
They match.
Yeah, but then also one on a bandage on her cheek that also invokes the shape of
yeah,
the
it is.
crucifix.
But they
That's
also
funny.
maintain her name is Chastity, and they maintain like when she's around, they're like, "We got to clean up this goddamn mess," and she's like, "No cussing,"
Yeah, she's like,
you know.
no cussing. She's sort of like the morality police a
Yeah,
little bit.
she's great. I love Chastity. She's
Yeah,
what.
she's
So
really
we find out, this is where we find out that Perry is different than Garrett
big time.
in that they took Garrett's head and put it on a cyborg body.
Right.
But with Perry, they rebuilt Perry from toe to tip.
Well, they brought it back from the dead.
Well, his entire body is fake except for his brain.
Yeah.
So his whole body, including his head, like we find that out because it's got a funny little laser in it. But his entire body is impervious, like crazy stress-resistant plastics, near indestructible alloys, fireproof, bulletproof, shockproof. Neither eats nor breathes.
But he was also
So Perry is like the most dangerous thing that they've built. Where his chest, housed in his chest, roughly where his heart would be, is a miniaturized solar reactor powerful enough to light a city block. This gives him superhuman strength and feeds laser weaponry concealed in his skull and forearms. And this is also where we learn that part of Perry's cyborg upgrade includes detachable nerve gas toes and, according to blueprints but not confirmed, a dick that shoots acid.
he's bad news, and he's back from the dead. So he was already really evil, and now he's crazy evil, and he's going to work for the Beast. And man,
Also for those of you keeping track, it's not until this moment, this scene, that we find out that the blue dwarves were created by ex-Tech Hop.
true.
So they're just around.
They finally
unexplored
explain it
for like 4 issues.
So we get, this scene of the Beast like screaming, "In the beginning there was darkness, endless cold, then came the corruption, the poison light, life, flesh," and he's just all teeth and horns, like so death metal.
nasty.
I love that.
And that's why that's why the Beast wants to kill everything on Earth, because it drowns out the darkness. The light and the life crawls all over the world, filthy and loud, interrupting the darkness. And so he created a tool, the tool built of the darkness, that is the nukes, and the tool built of the darkness, that is the hand and Elektra, including Elektra.
Yep, but Elektra's turned against them, and she's going to
Yes.
save the world
And
from
then-
nuclear war.
And then we see a splash of a bunch of nukes flying up into the air, and it says the tool that will break the filthy chain of light and noise and life and flesh. And that is such a great page.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Oh, and then the next page is the Earth exploding.
yeah.
It's just it's like a half a dozen splash pages. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It basically ends with Wynn winning.
And all flesh will burn and scream and die and die and die and die. And the world will be cold and clean. There will be peace, silence, darkness. And that is, Garrett has this vision, this same vision. And that's when he knows that Elektra is the hero of the story.
Yeah. And it's a great line where he's like, she's so crazy and she's so scary, but she's totally right. It's just a great line. Like, this is when Elektra finally becomes the hero, and we see her setting up to murder Wind, who has just won the presidency. And you can see like the United States in the background with his face stamped all over it. Everybody's freaking out. He is the president, and she's just got to sit and wait to take her shot. And I would guess the next issue, we're going to see her take that shot, right? They're just going to do it. They're going to roll right into the big action thing, right?
Right. Well, he's not the president yet, right?
Well, he just
this
won.
Is a rally still.
No, he won. That is it.
It is the election, right? They're celebrating.
That is him winning.
But this is the panel we were talking about earlier, where it's Wind standing in front of a huge crowd. He's got maps of the United States with his face on every state. And then you see his back and his arms are up in the air. And that fucking little newsprint face, it's tacked on the back. But it's backwards, clearly.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
It's like modern art. It's great. I love it. So instead of telling us the straight up story of what happens next, we get issue 8, Hail to the Chief, where Gaspar Saladino comes on, taking over letters for some reason.
Legendary letterer,
guy,
Gaspar
right?
Saladino, creator of many, many logos that you've seen and loved through the years.
Mainly a DC guy, wasn't he?
A lot of DC stuff,
okay.
Yeah.
So instead of telling us that story, we time jump 4 months into the future. And it looks like Elektra and Garrett's plan totally failed. They're in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. Wind is the president. Chastity is debriefing the events of the attempt on Wind's life at the presidential victory speech. And then it becomes a pure action issue. Straight up action. But I'll tell you what, this first panel where we see Wind's face again, and it's totally blown out and really big with the confetti falling in front of it.
It was not meant to be, like Jared said earlier, a photocopy of a drawing reproduced 1,000 times and now blown to extreme size. Like, it's great. It looks great.
But it's just Miller and Sienkiewicz fucking with you. The bad guy won. It's over. He won.
Bad guy won.
It's great.
Or did he?
It's such a great, and like you see, as Chastity is like telling Fury about everything that's going on in the background, you see Elektra and Garrett, and they're like in weird little tanks, and they look unresponsive, like they're being held hostage, you know? And she, from there, recounts this ridiculous story of the assassination attempt, of basically the Beast was there. Elektra is fighting the Beast. She's trying to go after Wind. Perry shows up. S.H.I.E.L.D. is in disguise. Chastity's running around dressed like a nun with a jetpack. This issue was completely insane.
Something that I think that's worth noting is that during this debrief, we see that Wind's face is now in color.
Yes. It's a hint of something, if you will.
Just put a pin in that.
Yeah. It's a
And
little.
he's smoking.
He's smoking, all of a sudden.
He's also smoking cigarettes. And somebody
Wind is a bad guy. So,
well, sure, but somebody even says in this issue, when did he start smoking? You know, like
it's true, yeah.
They mentioned that. But so we see Chastity recounting all this. The blue dwarves, some of them are actually good guys. They're not all bad. It's just that one that's really, really bad.
It's the one that got possessed. I love that they show it on the second page as Chastity's like arming up. They show she's dressed like Silver Sable, first of all.
Kind of.
Sort of.
I almost wonder.
And then the dwarves have
looking to me.
The dwarves have like giant guns.
There's full on hand ninjas here, though. It's not just like American people whose bodies are taken over.
I think the jig is up at this point.
Well, Elektra is killing dudes in ninja costumes, straight up ninja.
Yeah,
costumes.
that's what I'm saying. I think there's no more need to hide.
So they rescue Wind. They put him in this little like ball, basically. It's really cool. It's like this impervious ball that they just airlift out, more or less.
Like a goofy egg, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an egg. Like if he falls or they drop him, he'll be okay, probably. It's so armored. Garrett's going nuts and like trying to protect Elektra. Elektra ends up confronting the beast. It's there, but nobody can see it. It's like this invisible thing. She can see it. S.H.I.E.L.D. is only able to see it later because they look in the infrared scopes and they go, oh, shit.
Yeah, all right. That's fair.
They're like,
I was
there's
going to say, are
something
you
there.
sure that only she can see it? But yeah.
Yeah. Because they say, like, it's cold. It's really cold. That's the only reason we can see it. So it's sort of like a predator thing going on.
This picture of Elektra stabbing the beast in the mouth with this spear is
amazing.
Just incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the beast is gross.
Cool as hell in this book.
He's all mouth. He doesn't have eyes. It's off-putting.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We get the culmination of the fight with Perry, where we get to see like Elektra really is that badass of a ninja. And like Miller even tells you in like the narration box from, I believe it's Garrett talking as he's remembering what's going on. And he's like, so she faces this unstoppable, unbreakable cyborg with the toughest metal that's ever been made, and she cuts its head off with an antique Japanese sword.
Yeah.
It's a great
Wind has also stopped shaving, I think is an important clue.
Well, he shaved. No, he's got a mustache.
No, his stubble is coming in.
Oh, okay.
The color version now.
Yeah, his stubble is coming in while he's hearing the story from Chastity.
But I do like he just took his hat. He took his hair off, and that's his disguise. I'm bald.
He's an ice cream man. He put on an ice cream man outfit.
Yeah, it's great. And so we basically see.
Oh no, and a Groucho nose,
Yeah.
and glasses.
Yeah, but we basically see the plan fail. It all fails. It falls apart. Like she kills Perry and whatnot, but she can't get to Wind.
I just noticed that Garrett's actual mustache, which is like a Sam Neill, like not a handlebar mustache. What do you call it where it goes across and then down?
A Fu Manchu?
No, where it's just like a horseshoe, right?
Okay, let's call it that.
Like lip and then straight down.
That is a handlebar mustache.
That would be a handlebar.
Yeah.
Is it a handlebar? Okay.
Yeah.
But so Garrett's mustache is peeking out from underneath the Groucho fake mustache
Yeah.
in this close-up.
He has two mustaches.
So it's like the world's worst disguise.
That's great. These fight scenes are just absolutely incredible, though. And it's just them dumping everything out, full action. Sienkiewicz goes completely nuts. And again, we see Elektra totally fails, doesn't make it. And Garrett's trying to kill Wind, and he's like, haha, man, too bad, you failed. You having trouble breathing, buddy? And it turns out that Perry is there, and Perry tears Garrett apart. Like, it all comes down, and Garrett basically holds Perry off just long enough that Elektra can come in and kill him. And then it's all over.
So the thing that they say that Elektra was able to kill with an antique sword that was honed to an edge over generations of whatever is Perry.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
We don't actually see her kill the beast, but we see her chop Perry's head off. Also Bruce, R.I.P. Bruce.
Oh yeah.
Chuck. Sorry.
Chuck.
R.I.P. Chuck.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like Elektra does what laser cannons and machine guns and all kinds of shit weren't able to do. And she's able to cut Perry's head off. Meanwhile, S.H.I.E.L.D. has this giant Warhammer G.I. Joe looking tank thing. They look like they're dressed like Ultramarines. They come out with this ridiculous thing and they see the beast and they are fighting the beast.
Right.
So S.H.I.E.L.D. is fighting the beast with their armaments.
Yeah, that's where we figured out they could see the beast because it was cold.
Because of the infrared stuff. Yeah.
So after all this goes down, Elektra has lost. It's all over. Wind is the president, and we learn a little something. Literally on the very second to last page, more or less, where Elektra does another body swap, but this time she puts Wind's mind into Garrett's body just as it's dying and puts Garrett's mind into Wind's body. And this is why suddenly Wind is smoking, and he's in color because your new
And his beard's growing in.
and his beard is growing in because your new
Right.
president of the United States is a cigarette chomping alcoholic porn addict. John Garrett.
So, as the explanation is coming on the second to last page, you see Garrett is begging her through their psychic bond, "Kill me, baby, kill me, honey, hurry up, they're almost here." And she drops the knife, and instead she puts her hand on Wynn's face and then touches Garrett's face, swaps their bodies. But not only that, she put herself in the body of one of the dwarves so that she could then use that dwarf to free herself, to free her own body from shield captivity and then escape.
The end.
The end. That's it. That's the end.
That's it.
Yeah. But so just a quick the last page though. The last page is Garrett as Wynn kicking back. Oh, actually, yeah, I think still technically that might be the same head, but it does look more like one complete drawing.
But it's also in color. I mean, it's not the
it's in full color.
Xerox. It's in full color.
But it's Garrett as Wind leaning back in the Oval Office with his feet up on the presidential desk, the Resolute desk, holding a giant machine gun as somebody escorts in like the ambassador from Russia or whatever.
Who he's been fucking with, by the way. Like,
right, who the team's been messing with. Yeah. And then he's got his hand on the box, the red button. It's great.
Everybody wants the button, right? Everyone wants
the button, yeah. So, just a real quick thing about Garrett being the president. At some point in the future, I don't know, like we said earlier, I don't know that anything that happened in this is meant to be taken as canon, though I do think they've done bits and pieces, like for the Beast, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. John Garrett obviously is a character that has been seen for many, many years since. But when he is woken up, one of the times he is like woken up and like rebuilt or whatever, he had been dreaming he was the president.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
It's like a little Easter egg, like for people that had read Elektra Assassin. Like, I don't think they were trying to say anything big about it. Like everything that happened in Elektra Assassin.
No. But it's cute.
It's just like hey, Garrett has been like in suspended animation, disembodied or whatever, thinking that he's the president of the United States.
Well, and
which I think is great.
The way this is left off, we truly don't even know. Maybe she put a mind whammy on him to give him a happy ending for saying thank you. And in all reality, no, she murdered this guy and it's over. There you go. Boom. Done. Whatever.
No, I think that Frank is cynical enough to have this be real. I think Elektra put Garrett in charge of the United States and said, good luck with that, and then left.
So let's rate this, and in our rating, talk about why maybe we think this series didn't have the same weight as, say, Return of the Dark Knight or a Daredevil Born Again or Batman Year One. Toots, you want to start off? You're our guest of honor.
I think because of the fact that it's an epic book, to tell you the truth, because I feel like the epic books were a little tougher to find. I feel like I never really, with this sort of format, right? Like, because this specifically, the Elektra Assassin, aren't they a little bit more of a higher grade cover and stuff? It's not like
they were Baxter.
Yeah, I think they're probably on Baxter paper or a different sort of paper.
So you didn't stumble into those on a spinner rack.
No, you weren't selling this.
Right? You wouldn't find it at the Quick Shop on 48th and Q. I'll tell you that.
I did get Dreadstar off a spinner rack, but that was more of a standard comic book cover, like the green space cover one, you know. But like, I feel like a lot of this stuff wasn't as available.
No, I don't. I think you're right. And keep in mind, comics at the time were like what, 50 cents, 75 cents. These books were like $1.50.
$1.50, right?
Cents, yeah.
Yeah. So they This was
were a buck
definitely
and a half.
marketed to an older crowd, which was a
Yeah.
relatively
They definitely
newer idea.
I mean, they were probably direct market only. Like they probably didn't sell these on the newsstand at all, unless the newsstand had the ability to get direct market comics.
I kind of doubt it.
But I think that this is the sort of thing that by and large you would have only found in a specialty shop. And those just weren't as prevalent in 1986.
So what's your rating, Toots? What do you think?
I think it's a buy it just because it is. If you like Bill's work, if you thought he was great with the Demon Bear, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing. The story is nonsensical to me. Like, I still don't even really, even after we talked it all out, I'm still kind of like, yeah, it's Frank being Frank, and, you know, take that for what you will.
Sure.
But the artwork is the showcase. It's the showcase.
Fair
100%.
enough. Joe, you want to go next? You want me to go?
Yeah, no, I can go. I think I'm in full agreement with what Jared said about the book being more difficult to find. I understand that like Watchmen was published for mature readers. I think maybe even The Dark Knight Returns might say mature readers on it.
Definitely.
But those books were just put out by your garden variety DC Comics. They weren't put out by Vertigo. They weren't put out by any other weird little side imprint. They were just published by DC. So any savvy newsstand, a person in charge of a magazine rack or like a gas station jockey that loved comics that wanted to put cool stuff in his spinner rack, like they could have gotten those books.
Sure.
I just don't think that Elektra Assassin would have been one of those books.
So
this is a buy it for me. I think that at first, I'm not going to lie. At first, I struggled with this book because every issue takes 8 years to read.
Yeah.
And it is also so narratively jumbled that until you're 3 or 4 issues in, it's very taxing.
Yeah.
To read.
Because you're so confused. You're so confused.
Like, I think I tried
when they do bring you then those big long briefing explanations, it's like you're already beat up from reading the disjointedness that you're like, now I got to read this.
Okay.
And I think it makes me wonder, is it satisfying? Is it a satisfying reading experience to have the plot unfold before you without making a lick of sense and then have it explained back to you in excruciating detail 2 issues later? I'm not.
Okay, let me build on that because this is part of. I'm going to give it a buy it, and I'm giving it a buy it because the art is absolutely stunning. But I think that Miller and Sienkiewicz were doing a thing here, and when Miller going into this with Sienkiewicz, who he knows what this guy can do. This guy's amazing. He's absolutely incredible, and he said, let's fuck with storytelling. Let's get experimental. Let's get as weird as we possibly can. And Elektra's a perfect character to do it with because we can just ninja magic everything, and it's not important to tell you where the powers came from, what's real, what's not real, what's actually happening. We'll let the reader make those decisions. And in the end, the way that it ends with Garrett as the president, I'm like, how in the hell? Like, what are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's almost like the story is not important. What's important is Elektra and the Beast. Everything else, you are just lost in ninja magic.
Well,
world.
sure.
And
I mean, but that's also like Dark Knight Returns, right? Where things are, there are things there are elements present in the Dark Knight Returns that, if taken at face value, don't make any sense at all.
For
like
sure.
Ronald Reagan still being the president, or like there are a lot of beats in that book where you're just like, but this is weird.
There wasn't
a thing
full
to happen
on
in an actual
experimental story where like a character is fundamentally wrong with what they are telling you.
Yeah, I just mean that to say that I think those are window dressing, and you're not meant to necessarily focus on, Ronald Reagan or the mutants.
Sure.
You're meant to focus on Batman.
Yeah.
And how he comes back and how he's training Carrie Kelly, and, guns are the tool of the enemy and all, and how he's on the run from the cops because the Joker frames him for his own murder.
Sure.
Kind of thing. It's like, it's like the talking heads on the screens and the weird stuff in Dark Knight Returns. That's not really the point. And I think that's the same here.
Totally. I think the point here is literally
it's a weird choice.
Ninja
it's a weird
magic.
choice for them.
I think that's that is the point. Like, you cannot understand. You are not a ninja. Sorry.
But it's also a weird choice to have the plot explained to you again in a linear way.
Yeah.
And I just like
it worked for me though. We all gave it a buy it, pal.
When I read it, I liked it when I read it.
We all gave it a buy it, pal.
No, it's true. I didn't even I hadn't given my rating yet, but it is a buy it for me.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just weird though. Now that I'm thinking about it, is that actually good? Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that I liked it.
It's experimental. It's very experimental. Yeah. And like, look, did he continue to do this? No, he did it for this one story. He's always told weird stories, but not like
Frank has done weird shit.
Not like this
one. He
would
continue to do weirder and weirder shit.
Well, more and more racist shit for sure.
Well,
this was pretty bad. Like, I mean,
yeah. But he was telling us.
Garrett kept calling the Japanese slants.
Sure. I mean, like, but that's also Garrett. He's a shitbag American.
That's the character, you know? Right? I understand what Toots is saying. Matt is talking about Holy Terror, where it's basically what if Batman beat up Al Qaeda,
right?
You know, and it's very reactionary. But Miller himself, I think, has come out and said, like, look, man, 9/11 did a number on a lot of people, and I was reacting to the to the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's like making excuses for it, and I don't even know how he feels about it.
I think he's an artist. I think he's a pretty wackadoo libertarian, though. So.
Well, sure, but I mean, I think that Miller is a creator that can't be defined by any one work. Like,
for sure,
people hold up Holy Terror as this idea that, like, oh man, Frank's lost it. He's a crazy racist scumbag. I don't think that's the case.
I tend to agree.
I think he put out a very problematic response to a very terrible time, and it is what it is.
Final thoughts on Elektra.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that he, like you said, he's exercising some of his personal demons and personal feelings about the United States government right here on the page, and he's always done that.
Fair enough.
Like Martha Washington Goes to War.
Oh,
like all that stuff.
Yeah, Toots.
You know.
I did say it's a buy it for me too, but my thing on this Elektra is I find this power set way more interesting than what I have read of her recently, right? So like admittedly the last major reading I've done with Elektra in it was Savage Avengers.
Yeah.
And then before that, was she in like an X-Force and like Steve Dillon was drawing it? What was that?
No.
And the Punisher was on
Thunderbolts.
that team?
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
It was Thunderbolts Red with Red Hulk, Elektra.
That's the last Elektra current. That's as current as I've gotten with the character. And in all of that, she's just a killing machine.
Yeah.
And that's pretty one note and lame compared to somebody that can mind swap, body swap, trip you out in your brain. That's way
Cloud
cooler.
Man's Mind's like the Shadow.
That's way cooler.
I kind of want that. I want this Elektra. I kind of want this Elektra.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird to me that none of us can remember her doing anything like this in any of her future appearances.
I mean, she certainly wasn't doing shit like this in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil recently.
We just hadn't been exposed to it.
Maybe we just didn't notice. Maybe we just thought it was hand magic.
Yeah,
could be. I don't know.
But I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it all is.
I totally agree that it would be way more cool if Elektra was more than just a girl with like a really badass fighter with knives
and a tortured soul.
You know what I mean?
Don't forget the tortured soul.
Yeah.
Well, sure, she's a tortured soul. Her daddy died.
Who is it?
Toots?
Yeah.
Get in line.
Cry me a river, Elektra.
Toots, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if we learned anything.
Thanks for having me, guys. That was a blast.
I think we talked through it. I can't say we learned anything, but we definitely talked through it.
Things happen.
We definitely talked. I'll agree to that.
Joey, it's time to head up to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where I've been working on a little ninja magic of our own, and I've communed with the feeble minds of the genetic imps working at the comic shipping docks to steal the secrets of next week's shipment so we can make our must-read picks. You're not going to believe all this stuff coming down the pike next Wednesday. Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins take Batman back to 1939 in Batman First Night. I guess that makes sense. And then there's a new storyline starting in Zdarsky's Batman, number 145. You're going to be thrilled when the Madballs versus Garbage Pail Kids get a hardcover collection over a Dynamite. I know you've been saving
I've been waiting a really long time.
A whole new team of turtles get introduced in TMNT Last Ronin Re-Evolution number 1 at IDW. Image Comics drops a story about a mermaid fighting cannibals in The Last Mermaid number 1, and New Comic Day couldn't be more titillating thanks to I'm Giving the Disgraced Noble Lady I Rescued a Crash Course in Naughtiness, Volume 4, the graphic novel from Vertical Comics. Joe, did any of these titles make you horny enough to become your must-read pick for next New Comic Day, March 6th?
The only comic I'm horny for next week is The Flash number 6. That, you know what? That's probably not a good way to categorize.
Sure. Hey, you do you,
Not
man.
the only.
No judgment.
It's from DC Comics. It's written by Cy Spurrier with art by Mike Deodato Jr. It's 32 pages for $3.99, and here's your solicit. After the shocking ending of last issue, Wally West's world has been completely upended. And as he quite literally is putting the pieces together, the Stillness's attempts to reach out to a higher power are answered. Lace up your boots as the first arc of the critically acclaimed new era for the Scarlet Speedster concludes.
Are you caught up, or do you need to catch up?
I need to get caught up, and it's not for any other reason other than I just got behind on literally everything. I love it. It's weird. It's freaky.
It's weird.
The Deodato thing still takes a little bit of getting used to. But I like this run by Cy Spurrier. I like his take on Wally. I like him being in weird sci-fi problems. Yeah, it's a great book. Excited to finish the first arc.
I think we're going to look back at this one and say Deodato really went for something here and we admire it, as opposed to a lot of the Deodato stuff where we just go, oh, Mike, what are you doing? Ugh.
Yeah, certainly. For sure.
It's weird.
100%.
It's weird. I'm still not sure what I think. I read the first 3. Going to read the second 3 tonight, I believe. So we'll see. But my pick for next week is Night People, number 1 from Oni. It's 32 pages. It's $4.99. Written by Chris Condon and Barry Gifford with art by Brian Level. Cover by J.H. Williams. This one's going to be weird, kids. Here's your solicit. From literary icon Barry Gifford, internationally renowned creator of Wild at Heart and co-writer of David Lynch's neo-noir masterpiece, Lost Highway, Night People is a pulsating roadmap of the American subconscious, where neon-lit southern nights give way to lipstick, sweat, and blood, and the odd, innocent, and evil are all fellow travelers down an interstate of dark, elusive dreams. Adapted from Gifford's acclaimed novel by breakout writer Chris Condon, who worked on That Texas Blood and the Enfield Gang Massacre, both of which were on a lot of top 10 lists. I read That Texas Blood and love it. I still haven't read the Enfield Gang Massacre. And a rotating cast of stunning artistic talents follow an uneasy company of wanted criminals, cartel killers, and lost souls through 4 interlocking tales as they travel a path of intoxication, lust, and spontaneous violence from New Orleans to Egypt. Oh, pardon me, Egypt City, Florida, not that Egypt. And back again. It's our first tale of desperation, fanaticism, and murder drawn by Brian Level, who worked on Poison Ivy, and where 2 ex-convicts, a pair of inseparable lovers named Big Betty Stalkup and Miss Cutie Early, are out on parole using their newfound freedom to purify the world of men's evil influence. The art in this first one is crazy good, and it reminded me a lot of Leo Max. I know this guy was on Poison Ivy for a while and did really quality work there too, but it's been so long since I've read that Poison Ivy book that I forgot it was the same person.
I feel like I've seen Brian Level's work on other things as well.
He's great. This is going to be wild. And J.H. Williams is doing, I think he's doing the covers on all of these, but I'm not positive. I know the internal art switches, but pretty sure he's doing the cover of all these.
Well, it says the first issue has covers by J.H. Williams III, Joel Jones, Jacob Phillips, and Brian Level.
Yeah.
So maybe he's doing the main covers for each.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
But then we've got Alexandria Tefenki, who worked on The Good Asian, will be on the next issue. Artyom Toplin worked on I Hate This Place and is awesome on issue 3. And Marco Finnegan, who I don't know, from Crossroad Blues, will be on issue 4. This is going to be crazy. That's all I know. David Lynch, I'm in.
Well, yeah.
Let's go.
It's definitely going to be crazy. The THN must-read trade for next week is Superman, Emperor Joker, the deluxe edition hardcover from DC Comics. It's written and drawn by Various. I wrote story and art by Various, but my brain refused to read it that way. I was trying to be fancy. It's 272 pages for $49.99. Here's your solicit. Written by Jeff Loeb, J.M. DeMatteis, Mark Schultz, and Joe Kelly. Art by Ed McGuinness, Mike S. Miller, Doug Mankey, Duncan Rouleau, and others. Various.
Hey.
Somehow, Batman's greatest nemesis, the Joker, has received the power to reshape reality according to his own mad whims. This world is now defined by chaos and death. Metropolis's greatest superhero is Bizarro, and billionaire industrialist Lois Lane is ... bald? All of those creators I literally just mentioned and more present a twisted vision of a world under the rule of Emperor Joker. This deluxe edition collects Superman, Volume 2, 160 through 161, Adventures of Superman 582 through 583, Action Comics 769 and 770, Superman, the Man of Steel 104 and 105, and Superman, Emperor Joker #1, and features a brand new cover by Ed McGuinness and a new introduction by Jeff Loeb. So, Emperor Joker.
Why did you
Emperor
pick this?
Joker-
I didn't think you liked this.
No, it's great. It's weird as hell.
Okay.
Emperor Joker is a storyline that took over all of the main Superman titles for 2 months. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Through reasons that are revealed, and I won't spoil, reality has been rewritten and Joker is the king. Batman is being tortured nightly in some sort of dungeon. Superman is, trapped prisoner and breaks out. The world as we know it has completely changed. The characters we know are different. New characters are introduced, and some of them stick around.
Okay.
It's a weird, fun little event that was localized to the Superman titles during a run of comics that Matt and I reference very often.
Yeah, it was great. I remember
that kind of right around Y2K era, Joe Kelly, Jeff Loeb, kind of run on the Superman books. Mike S. Miller, who is now a Comicsgate shithead, drew some of it, but we won't hold that against the book. This was, this is 25 years ago.
Come on, guys.
It was a long, long time ago. It's all right. But yeah, Emperor Joker. It's fun. It's bizarre. And you know what? In an already bizarre couple of weeks of reviews and picks of the week, I think it's a pretty fitting choice.
Fair. Maybe you don't have telepathic links to flying little people in the comic shipping biz like we do, but don't worry. We'll help you out every week with a shipping list and new comic talk over at our Discord. But do be sure to pre-order these picks before heading out to your local comic shop so you can read along with us. We're going to review them on next week's show.
Excelsior!
That is it for THN 732. Next time, new comic reviews return to the Ziggurat, and we'll give you a sneak peek of our Patreon Extra, where we are giving you the TLDR version of Chip Zdarsky's Joker Year 1, so you don't have to read it and try and understand it the way we did. If you're not confused enough by our head-spinning THN stuff, join us on the Gang Hang on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central. Check out our Discord for details. Joe, what else can these listeners do while they are there?
Hey, you might be surprised to find out Batman is half Jewish.
Mazel tov.
You can perfect your crow eye makeup ahead of the remake starring Bill Skarsgård.
Everybody
the
made fun of
littlest
that.
Skarsgård.
I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really good and creepy.
Yeah, no, he looks like what if Post Malone became the Crow. Or maybe you just want to discuss the question of the week. This week's question. Ramona Fradon, legendary comic artist and co-creator of Metamorpho, passed away this week at 97. Her career spanned nearly 75 years, but she's still something of an unknown for many comic book fans. So in honor of the late, great Ramona Fradon, name an iconic creator whose work you kind of missed the boat on, but you would like to get more familiar with. already some great answers in the Discord for this one. Please keep your question of the week suggestions coming and sign up for our Discord with the link at twoheadednerd.com/Discord. We will talk about your answers on this week's Gang Hang. Once you get in, you can post about any of our segments there or send an MP3 submission for the Comic Pushers, for Ask a Nerd, or for any of our segments to twoheadednerd@gmail.com. And hey, we'll put you on the show just like we did Wooly Toots.
If you're new to the show and you'd rather watch us shower again and again and again than listen to any more, I assure you, it's only because you haven't heard enough. The good news is you can hear the entire run of THN in our digital longbox archive over at twoheadednerd.com.
Well, hold on. Are they doing it because they like to or because they hate to?
No, because we messed with their brains and we're trying to get them to like the show, right? So that's how we're going to beat them down. So, and it wouldn't be possible without the generosity of donors like our patron, Sandy Rodriguez, ex-catcher for the Detroit Tigers. Guy had a heck of a season, too. Nice. Welcome aboard, Sandy.
I'm sure it's the same.
Has to be. There can't be more than one. If you like what you hear every week, it's easy to support the show, just like ex-Detroit Tigers players do. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/2headednerd. We are Cubs fans, though. Just on the record.
Yes.
So you know.
But you know what? He's retired, so what does he care?
Yeah, ziggurat. We root for the Cubs.
Before we go, our weekly shout-out goes to WWE superstar Virgil, who passed away today, February 28th. Virgil was best known as the $1 Million Man's personal servant until he turned on him at the Royal Rumble in 1991, and then won the $1 Million belt at WrestleMania.
Tears in my eyes when it happened.
Years later, he would meet a younger Matt Baum at a Comic-Con and decline to introduce this show unless Matt paid him $50. Rest in power, Virgil.
Hustling.
Always be hustling.
He's doing his. Yeah, I mean, he was straight up about it, and I was just like, no thanks. You have a good one, though.
Yeah, I respect the heck out of it. That dude wasn't there for charity.
Before we had
that's how he made
patrons,
his
we
money.
weren't making any money. Until next time, true believers, remember to pre-order your comics, or your retailer might use their nerd magic to swap their brain into your body so they can live a happy life while you are stuck with the hell of running a local comic book store. This is the Two-Headed Nerd wishing you a happy leap day and signing off.
You know, most people would think that running a happy
Pure
comic store
hell.
is a happy life.
Pure hell, Joe. You were there. You were there.